Good day to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the Season 2 MRC BF1 League Round 3 featuring the BMW Sauber F106 car at the Aston Touring Car Circuit, modified with a custom layout today. My name is Travis Mehlinger, joined today by Tom Jones, presenting this event for Sim Broadcasts on Twitch.tv. Tom, good day to you. How are you doing?
I'm very good, Travis. It's good to be back in the new year. Did you have a good Christmas, New Year?
I did have a good Christmas and New Year. I checked out for a little while. Didn't talk to much of anyone. Didn't do much of anything. But excited to be back for this, the third round of the MRC BF1 League Season 2. You can see it there on the screen. This is round 3 at the Aston Touring Car Circuit. I think it's AS72 is its designation. And then you can see we got 3 more rounds after this one. Up on the screen now, here we go, is the track map. This is a modification of the Aston North circuit. You can see it uses the hairpin from Aston North, and then the O route, the tricky winding back segment of Aston around to a pit lane that is on the short straight before the left-hand bend at turn 11, and then the start-finish line on that very long run down to the left-hand corner at turn 1. Pretty challenging track we've seen in practice and in pre-qualifying. Only 14 participants today driving this, the BMW Sauber F106 car, 2.4-liter V8 mid-engine, one of the classics, screaming V8 sound of the mid-2000s Formula One. As I was saying, this track challenging. Only 14 drivers here today, many of them finding it difficult to negotiate the twists and turns, hairpins, tight corners, and the sweeping bends of this circuit. But here we go on track with the action right now. 8.5 minutes left in qualifying. Boar led the pre-qualifying session with Straviko Saponyak immediately behind him. Alexei Lamerto not attending today, so Boar and Straviko hoping to take valuable points off Alexei. You can see there on the screen the team for today. My name again, Travis Mehlinger, Tom Jones, the two of us, the men in your ears with Peter Butcher directing in the background and Chris McElroy doing our commentary liaison tasks as usual.
Yeah, so drivers just coming on round now. I think the first ones are going to be coming up to the start-finish straight now. So as I say that, I think Boar and someone's just had a slight spin, so their time's not going to be coming up again. So,
yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Tom. As you were saying someone spun, that was Boar going off heavily just before the 180-degree left-hand corner coming around to pit lane.
Yeah, as you were noting, it's a nice and challenging. These drivers been saying it's been quite difficult with some of the turns, and as you were saying that, nicely done their first flying laps. A few errors were made.
Yes, indeed. Boar just out of the pits again. I saw Straviko Saponyak also coming out of the pits behind him as we watch Santu Serra, who appears to be on a flying lap on our screen right now. He'll have to negotiate Boar, who just came out of pit lane. I thought Boar leaned out of the throttle to let Santu through, but Boar is driving down to the apex, so that will have compromised Santu Serra's lap. We do have cars setting times coming across the line right now. Jimmy Virtanen just took the top spot at 58.45, 1/100th of a second ahead of Straviko Saponyak in P2. Straviko's teammate Santu Serra rounding out the top 3 right now on 58.55 with Ayub in 4th. Straviko and Boar were going a fair bit quicker in the pre-qualifying session. Watching Straviko saving those tires, going around slowly to conserve the rubber, avoid putting too much heat into them before he comes around to start a flying lap.
I wouldn't be too surprised if those first laps that he's done is just a bit of a banker, knowing it's a difficult circuit. He wants to just get a lap on the board before he starts pushing and making out to reduce any errors.
Yep, I think you're right. That makes perfect sense. He's coming up to this final, the 180-degree left-hander now. He'll want to carry speed out of this corner because as he comes past the pit lane here and through this sweeping left-hand bend, he will go up the hill past a car coming out of the pits who slows down to get out of the way. Now, up the hill, he will come past the timing line just here under the gantry. He'll stay to the right side of the road and then hard on the brakes through this left-hand bend to a sharper left-hand corner. Just missing the bollards on the left. Looks like he drove through them and high on the curbs. That's going to compromise his exit a little bit. Now he's going to be hard on the brakes, make the car as wide as he can to make the hairpin. And once again, we are cursed with our onboard flying lap calls. Gets it a little bit wrong going into the hairpin and loops the car. Boar is still on a flying lap. He was a little bit ahead of Straviko on circuit, negotiating the final sequence of corners now, coming into this 180-degree left-hander. A little bit tricky to set up the entry because the cars are coming very quickly through the sweeping bends in the middle of the circuit, and then it's easy to put a wheel off on the left side of the road before having to switch far to the right side of the road very quickly to negotiate that left-hand bend. But here Gabor goes up the hill and into P1 on a 58.03. I believe that's 200ths quicker than he was in pre-qualifying. And behind Gabor, Ayub jumps up to the second spot on a 58.42. Yeah,
Yes.
Tom, so far this is proving to be as difficult as all of the drivers exclaimed to us in the early running.
Yeah, it's showing. I think Gabor's got that lap nicely hooked up there. It's fastest lap I've seen from anyone today, faster than what he did previously, and he's a comfortable margin ahead at the minute, as Sarah has just put themselves up into P2, just 2 and a bit tenths behind Gabor.
Fortunately, it is a pretty short circuit, so these drivers will get plenty of opportunities to take more flying laps. Speaking of more flying laps, Straviko Saponyak, after going backwards on the previous lap, is now coming up to the start-finish line as we watch Costa come through the hairpin. We'll keep an eye on Straviko as we watch Costa follow another car. I couldn't see who the car ahead of him was, negotiating these very fast left and right-hand bends. These are full throttle or nearly full throttle, using what downforce they have put on the car to negotiate these corners. We now switch to Jimmy Virtanen coming out of the pits, and now back to Gabor, who is, I believe this is his out lap. I watched him come out of the pits in just a few moments ago.
See the corners there, nice undulation to them, slight camber change over the middle. It's nice and easy to get the car slightly unsettled over there, and then braking nice and wide all over the curve, getting it nice down as you power on out now. Long run to the line, quite fast. I believe this corner is flat out. We'll find out now. Yeah, nice, easily flat. It's just building up right up to the top ends of the speed that these cars can do as he starts his flying lap. Let's see how he's going to do.
Here he comes through this slight left-hand bend, and now hard onto the brakes, just keeping it off the white line on the right. Carries a lot of speed through the corner. That was very quick. Just left a little bit of space to the bollards on the left. Now he's hard on the brakes as the car dives away in front of him. But yeah, he was a little bit late on the brakes. I think he was spooked by the car ahead, and then locked the wheels going into that hairpin corner. That hairpin been giving a lot of the drivers a whole bunch of difficulties on this weekend. Many of them have complained that it's very difficult to actually get the car around the corner because there isn't quite enough steering lock to do it. And we saw there, if you get it a little bit wrong, it is impossible to make that corner without driving off and looping the car or going off on the grass on the right. We've got Heikki Hyttinen on stream now, coming through this sweeping left-hand bend in a beautiful sim broadcast livery. I can't read the text on the engine cowling, but he does have those great-looking sim broadcast stickers. We appreciate that, Heikki. Thank you.
I think it might say Friendly Fire, something like that. Yeah, I think it's his team name that's got on the side of his car. It's just gone through. I think this is his flying lap. It looks like he's trying well. He's getting the car down nicely. He's using the apexes. So I'm going to go with saying this is his flying lap. Using all of the curb available to him there, holding it nicely, getting it nice and turned in, pitched in, using all of the curb, not running too wide, flying nicely all over the curb again, using all of the road to carry just as much speed as possible. Apex to apex, that corner, nice, managing it well. It looks like there's a lot of possibility for it to go wrong. Getting the car nicely slowed down for the apex, getting on the power well and using run out to the curb. This could be quite a good lap we're going to see here. He's just got to keep his foot absolutely pinned now on his run up to the line, all over the inside to shorten the track as much as possible. He's just got to run up to the line and see what he's going to do. Is he going to improve? No, he doesn't.
Yeah, we can see how difficult the circuit is. He's 0.6 off the lead, even though that looked like a perfect lap. He had beautiful drive through the middle of the circuit and then just kept it off the curbs in that very fast right-hand corner before the turn that comes back onto the pit straight. On board with Gabor once more, up over the curbs, and now hard on the brakes into the hairpin. Manages to get the car turned in just a little bit late. He wants to touch the white line of the curb a little bit more. If you get too much on it, it upsets the car, but he missed it by maybe half a meter there. Now hard on the throttle, using all of these curbs to widen the circuit as much as he possibly can. Stay off the curb on the right because it upsets the car. Over the curb on the left once again. And now this tricky corner, he's going to go over the curb on the left and then pitch the car into the right as close as he can to the bollards. Just keep the wheels off the left side of the road. He touched the grass but managed to keep the car under control. A little bit wide into this corner. but now he's clean on the way out. But ahead of Gabor, Straviko Saponyak has taken pole on a 57.96, the first driver we've seen into the 57s. Gabor powering up the hill is going to just pip him by a tenth of a second. Looked like he got it a little bit wrong coming out of the final sequence of corners. He put a wheel on the grass and we could see a big twitch, but he kept his foot in it, kept the drive down, and is able to take pole position just before the session ends. Straviko Saponyak won't be able to answer that unless he takes a big risk on old tires. I can't imagine that he will. As we watch Lucidi come out of the hairpin and around this right-hand bend, I believe it will be Gabor on pole position when the last cars finally cross the line.
Got the CD here, second off pole position at the minute, just seeing what he can do to climb himself back up the order. Interestingly, out of the top 10 shootout here, only 9 cars have set a lap so far, which is quite interesting. Using, oh, sorry, there you go. There's the 10th one on the line. It's just 3 seconds down. So I'm not sure what's happened for him there. But the CD here going through the final corner, I believe we're at here. Just using all the track, running up to the line, see if he's going to improve, if he can climb himself further up. No, I don't think he can.
And behind him, we've got Jimmy Virtanen coming across the line in just a moment's time. There he is under the gantry, down to a 58.09. He improves to third position, but still 2.5 tenths off Gabor in the very top spot. Yeah, Daniel Lukostic, Tom, you observed as he came across the line to set a lap 3 seconds off the pace. He made it through in pre-qualifying, but for some reason was unable to set a lap in the qualifying session. While we were watching other cars coming around, he was on circuit, but I guess never had an opportunity to set a good lap. There you have on the screen the qualifying results in P1. Gabor just snatching the top spot in the waning moments of this qualifying session on a 57.83. He goes a full 2 tenths faster than he had in the pre-qualifying session. In second, Straviko Saponyak, his chief competitor today on a 57.96. Gabor and Straviko, the only drivers in the 57-second bracket. Jimmy Virtanen just snatches third position in the waning moments of qualifying. Santu Sara in fourth position. Ricardo Costa and Ayub El-Lanouni starting on the third row in fifth and sixth. Heikki Huhtinen in seventh with Lucidi in eighth. And in ninth and 10th positions, we've got Kadric and Daniel Lukostic starting alongside in the fifth row. Tom, that was exciting all in the last moments. Couldn't get a good onboard lap early on, and then it all happened. It all happened there at once.
Yeah, I feel like as it came towards the end there, people started getting their heads around exactly how they need to do. So, of course, we've got a championship graphics up there. We've got Alexi Lemaitre leading the championship, just 4 points clear of Gabor. Of course, Alexi Lemaitre is not here today, so as long as Gabor or Straviko can get a clean run in here today, they have quite a good chance of taking the lead of the championship. Third place, got Straviko. Fourth, Sean Lee. Fifth, Ayub. Sixth, got Roni Krompus. And seventh, we're on a draw for seventh place and ninth place, both on 8 points, with seventh of Ricky and David. And then ninth, you got Sundarale and Emir Khan rounding out the top 10. In 11th, and you got Akshay drawing on 4 points with Daniel Lukostic. Of course, I don't believe Akshay is here today, so this could be an opportunity for Daniel to jump up a bit. You got Christian Sanoki and Palis on equal on 2 points in 13th place, and Lorenzo Lucidi rounding out our 15th place spot.
See, we're having a repeat of what we did 3 weeks ago, where Tom hasn't had enough coffee before he joins the broadcast booth. So apologies for the difficulties with the names there. We'll have a word with all of you after the event and make Tom apologize. There we have the team standings. Team Citus rounding out both the top two positions. Team Citus on the results for Alexi Lemaitre, and then Team Citus 2 taking the top two spots. It's neck and neck between the sister teams, with Thragmaster in third. Straviko Saponyak doing most of the work for the Fragmaster team, and then in fourth, Pixel Air Attack Racing. Sean Lee's performance a few weeks ago, putting valuable points on the board, put them up into fourth position. In fifth, we've got Born to Race, Race Green Auto Force in sixth. In seventh, we have the third Team Citus squad. Master Race Car Kappelman in eighth, and then the second Pixel Air Attack Racing team in ninth. Down in 10th, we have Master Race Car on 6 points, and then 11th down to 13th. You can see there on the right side of those results. In the background, we should have a driver's briefing coming up shortly. Haven't seen them switch to setting the grid or starting the briefing yet, but we will have that in a few moments' time. Tom, what do we expect from this race today? It's a short lap. I think there'll be a range of strategies we might see from the different drivers. We know that Straviko and Gabor are going to be racing hard one another. I expect we will see the two of them up front fighting one another and probably leaving everyone else behind. But a wild card today, I realize I've given you a lot to think about. A wild card today is Sean Lee, who is attending. He was not in the pre-qualifying session and obviously thus did not make the qualifying session, but he will be starting from the back of the grid. Tom, what do you make of all of that?
So, start off with your first bit, the track. I'm going to make a wild prediction. I'm going to say we're going to get our first safety car of the season here. From what we've seen in qualifying, there is a lot to go wrong. It's a long race. So any sort of lapse in concentration through that very fast-flowing middle sector, and we're quite possibly going to see a car into the barrier. We saw 2 cars lose it at the start of this top 10 shootout that we had. And so during the race, I don't expect there to be any difference. I do expect someone to get it wrong somewhere. And of course, the barriers are nice and close, so it will bring something to an end there. Gabor and Straviko at the front. I do expect them to have a bit of a battle, but I wouldn't rule out Vertanen too quickly because he was a little bit behind, but he was quite close. And with the long back straight here, he can quite possibly use the slipstream to keep himself in contention. I'm expecting there to be a lot of overtaking and lapping happening, especially with it being such a short lap and the fastest people being nearly 2 seconds faster than the slower people that we've seen in this top 10 shootout. And finally, Sean Lee. I haven't had the opportunity to see him performing on this track. I'm not sure what sort of lap times we can expect from him. If he can put in a performance similar to what he did 3 weeks ago, then we quite possibly could be seeing him fighting his way through and putting on a really exciting drive for us. If not, it'll be either way. It's going to be interesting to see a driver that can be as quick as him starting right at the back.
Thank you for all of that, Tom. I realize we give you a hard time about your dictation of our names, but I asked you to summarize War and Peace, and you nailed it. So thank you for your thoughts. We appreciate that. We do have a couple cars going around on circuit, just doing some warm-up. Still no indication that they'll start a driver briefing soon, so we've got a little bit of time before these cars come around. Before the cars go into the drivers go into the driver briefing, and then we have cars coming around to the grid. So we'll see. Oh, here we go. Race ending now. So driver briefing starting in just a moment. While the driver briefing is happening in the background, we will take a short break. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Good day, everyone, and welcome back. We are back once again on Sim Broadcasts after the conclusion of qualifying for Round 3 of the MRC BF1 League Season 2. This event at the Aston Touring Car Circuit. The driver's briefing has concluded in the background. They are setting the grid to begin the formation lap in a few moments' time. There we have the track graphic on screen. A custom layout, the Aston Autodrome around the Aston Touring Car Circuit. I said Aston North earlier, and that was incorrect. It is a custom layout on the Aston Touring Car Circuit. Cars on the grid now to begin the formation lap. Tom, there are a few things we can talk about before the start of the race. First one is you had predicted a safety car, the first safety car of the season in the third round of the season, and there are a few places there that could happen on this circuit. One in this left-hander before the hairpin, and then in the hairpin, and then the sweeping corners in the back of the circuit. Where do you think it might happen?
I'm going to go for what you could call as the safe bet, and I'm going to say it's into turn one. They're going to go through the nice sweeping corner, get onto the brakes, and some cars are going to be slightly unsettled. If someone's trying to take the inside line through there, the curb on the inside is quite nasty, so that could result in them jumping over a bit, and then we're having a collision. So, and then once again into turn two, it's another very tight hairpin. So, someone getting that quite badly. We were saying previously about the difficulty with the car not having enough steering lock. So, some people could not get the turn in and then clip someone who's on their outside. All lots of possibilities here. And then you got through the sweeping sector in the middle. We saw previously in the qualifying cars getting it wrong through there and ending up in the barrier. You've got to be hot on through there. There's only really one line you can take. And if you get it wrong, you could end up on the grass and then subsequently into the barrier, bringing out a safety car.
Yeah, I happen to think it's more likely in the area of the track you were just talking about, these fast sweeping bends. As you said, there's one line through the circuit. Cars running side by side is going to be very difficult. And it's going to be very difficult to follow through there. The cars, we saw, as you said in qualifying, difficult for the cars to thread the needle, stay on that singular line through those sweeping and undulating corners. But then following somebody through there, losing the downforce on the front of the car when you expect to have the grip, feel like that's as likely as the first couple corners for somebody to go off when they suddenly don't have the grip they anticipated when they were going through there on the previous laps. Having some trouble with the timing graphics on the screen right now. We apologize for that, but that will not stop us from calling the start of this race. We've got Gabor on the left side of the screen there in pole position with Straviko Saponyak alongside. Here we got this nice deep shot looking at the entire grid. The last cars coming up to take their grid positions now. We have the graphics. You can see formation lap is about to conclude with Gabor ready to lead these cars away from the red lights. Last car is now stopped on the grid. That is Daniel Lekostic in the background. Sean Lee will be starting from pit lane in a few moments' time. The lights will be coming up in just a moment. Still waiting to see the race start. We're still on formation at the moment. Not sure what's holding us up here, but we will wait patiently for the lights to come up and see these cars go away in just a moment's time.
The race director holding them there for a long time.
There we go. We got the green flag on the screen in our clients now. We should have lights coming up shortly. Session stopped. We've got a red flag. Not entirely sure what happened there. Still waiting for lights to come up. And there, we've got a call from race control that there was a problem with the starting lights app, so they called a test start. 5 seconds to lights. Here we have the lights on the screen now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and yellow to abort the start and do another formation lap after that problem with the starting lights app.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good decision to make because the car's been sat there for such a long time. They're going to have really cold brakes and really cold tyres again. So it's a sensible decision because I think it was just going to lead to carnage into turn one. So going to give the cars an opportunity to get their tyres back up to temperature, get their brakes up to temperature, so hopefully have a nice clean turn one.
So they will deduct one lap. Tom, turns out we were both wrong. No safety car on the first lap. This is the first lap, unless something truly astonishing happens with these cars going around safety car speeds. I think we may look for a safety car on lap 2. Agree. That was a great call from Jonathan Palmer directing the race today, deciding to abort the start and do another formation lap after a problem with the starting lights application.
Yeah.
Watching Gabor come around in the background now.
You say anything in case something incredible happens under safety car at these speeds. South City Long, we did have a bit of argy-bargy on the formation lap, so there's always a possibility.
Yeah, I had forgot about that. You are right there, though everybody, I think, pretty responsibly spread out today. We see lots of drivers in the background. Oh, Costa going sideways and trying to cause a safety car, warming his tires in the background. Straviko not wasting any time. It was right on Gabor's gearbox. Looks like he will be turning off the traction control to lay down some rubber and heat up the rear tires. We can see the cars, a few cars in the background. The pack is fairly close. We should get this grid set fairly shortly. I saw a message from Sean Lee asking permission to speak while cars were going around on the second formation lap. We'll check to see what he was asking about. I suspect he was looking for clarification about how he is meant to start the race because he is a pit lane starter. Yeah, there we have in the background all of the cars coming to the grid fairly quickly. So hopefully this time around we will not have the same difficulty with the starting lights. Grid forming up back to the 4th row. There's a race green car and the purple machine alongside forming up the 5th row. And here we go, the deep shot for the start. The final Fragmaster machine of Daniel Lukostic taking the grid. Gabor on the right side of our screen in pole position. Straviko Saponyak will want to get a good jump on him and try to get away in the lead as we start this race. Lights coming up now. No problems this time around. 4, 5 red lights. And they are away. Gabor gets a good jump from Yumi Virtanen in 3rd position. Not quite enough to get alongside Straviko Saponyak. Gabor defending the left side of the road. Straviko Saponyak taking a look hard on the Oh no, Straviko's gotten into the back of Gabor. Gabor is off, manages to stay out of the barriers. This could be a safety car if everybody doesn't get away. Ronnie Krom pushes off on the left side of the road, but he will get away cleanly. I have to believe this is going to be a penalty for Straviko Saponyak. 2 events in a row. Straviko Saponyak drops all the way down to the back of the grid or near the back of the grid. Gabor will be at the back of the grid, though I think he got past one of the cars that had come through as he was rejoining the circuit. In any case, this promotes Yumi Virtanen to P1. He will lead the first lap of the race unless Costa behind him can get alongside and get through. Daniel Lukostic, Sentu Serra up to 6th position. Kadrich off the circuit before. Looks like he has taken a lot of damage. He is on the curb on the inside of the circuit going very slowly as we switch ahead once again to Yumi Virtanen, who will lead the first lap of the race. Tom, no safety car, but not for lack of trying. That was pretty close.
Yeah, everyone got going quite well, which was what saved that from having a safety car there. Of course, Stravko straight into the back of Gabor. Not ideal start. It's, I believe Gabor has a bit of rear wing damage.
Safety car boards and flags.
And there we go. Got safety car out. Made the call, and there we go.
The turn 10 to turn 11 area.
Yeah, so it wasn't the first lap. Oh, we didn't see this happen. This is Morera. This was not the car that was going slowly over the curbs. His car is coming through turn 10. We just heard from the race director. This is one of the Pixel air attack machines. One of Sean Lee's teammates going slowly and coming back to, this is the pit lane exit, so he will have to go all the way around the circuit with a car crabbing to one side. Yeah, I have to believe he will ask permission to teleport to pit lane, but he's still going around. In any case, there we go. I think we'll say in the spirit of it being a first lap safety car that it was in fact a first lap safety car. Straviko Saponyak has come into the pits to make a pit stop as we watch Morera still crabbing around the circuit. All the other cars on track trying to move alongside with as much room as possible. Yeah, and we will wait to see if there's a penalty for Straviko Saponyak for getting into the back of Gabor.
I think the only thing that could save him is that he did let Gabor go back through. Gabor, when they came back on from the crash, Straviko let him through about a corner or so later. So that was helpful for him. I also believe Kadrich might also be stuck round by the final corner. I saw one of the cars go through, and I saw him parked up on the apex, so he might be damaged there. We'll never know. Straviko has gone into the pit to repair the damage. I don't know if he's done any tyre changes, but he has repaired the damage, I believe.
Yeah, curious to see. We'll have to ask Sean after the race what was going on here. It looked like he just was unsure of the rules about passing a disabled car, though it was his teammate. So Pete's made an editorial comment in the background that it was tactical from Sean, but I'm not sure what Sean would have had to gain because it lost him so much time. But I think Sean Lee probably making the smart decision there. We've seen some rather impetuous calls from Sean in the past. They're choosing to stay behind a car that is going slowly on circuit rather than risk a penalty. But we will seek clarification about that. Kadrich has just retired, so the car that was going around slowly now off circuit once again.
Kadrich was stuck on the inside of I think it was the final corner. Morera is the one that's quite warped, as you could say. I'd also like to note Straviko has just pitted for a second time, and Ronnie Krompos has just come out of the pits as well. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but there you have it.
That was my mistake. Thank you for the correction, Tom. Did just see a message from Morera. He's calling the car undrivable, which is totally believable, having watched him crab it around the circuit. Asking permission to retire, has not received it yet. He has one of the course cars behind him now as we watch these cars go by. Well, that was exciting. Plenty for us to talk about. Plenty more for us to talk about. We still wait to see the call from race control on that first lap incident between Gabor and Straviko Saponyak as we watch Costa following Jimmy Virtanen around behind the safety car. I anticipate we will have another lap, maybe 2, behind the safety car. We've got everything mostly cleaned up here. And we have... Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I do wonder if Straviko pitting multiple times is a tactical decision. Because maybe if he pits twice and cost himself a lot of time, I think maybe he's thinking they might not penalise him as hardly, or they might leave it altogether, considering how far behind the pack he is currently. He's going to be restarting the race in last, so still got half a lap to catch up on the safety car.
There we go. And on that note, the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. I think that's an interesting thought, Tom. I don't know that race control will take the same view that we do. I happen to agree with you that if he's given the time back, maybe he will be absolved of responsibility for serving a penalty. But we have received no indication from the race directors at all whether that will be the case. So for the moment, we will wait and see. And in the meantime, we watch Jimmy Virtanen for the first time this season leading a race, going around very quickly on the safety car in lap, or at least we're getting the illusion of him going around quickly with that nice close shot. It does not appear he is going around as quickly now. That was a really good look over the curbs with the paint on the curbs flying by. It looked like he had left a mile to the safety car. But here we go, down to the curb in the final corner, a little bit wide on the exit. That's going to compromise his drive off this corner. He will have a train of cars in his slipstream. Oh, I think he probably wanted to go there. This is going to be a very late jump from Jimmy Virtanen as he comes through this left-hand bend and then up the hill. Costa will want to get alongside.
Green flag, green flag.
Jimmy Virtanen does get a good jump, so now Costa is going to be accosted from behind. He's got Daniel Lukastic alongside, who started in 10th position, now up to second momentarily as cars look to go 3 wide. Oh, Costa and Lukastic just touch coming into the first corner. These two giving each other just enough room. Lukastic takes third position as this train of cars comes down to the hairpin for the second flying lap. A big dive from Gabor on the apex of this corner. Nearly gets it wrong on the exit, but Gabor up to 5th position. Sentu Sara there in 8th. The second of the Fragmaster cars as Straviko Saponyak is running around the back of the circuit. Sean Lee 1 lap down at the very back. Somewhere he has lost lap. We'll see if he lost credit for that lap on account of a bug in race control, or if he actually lost the lap on circuit somewhere. Now looking to Daniel Lukastic coming through the corner. Gabor making up lots of time after that first lap incident with Straviko Saponyak. Nearly gets back into the back of Lucidi ahead of him as he comes down to the curb through this sweeping left-hander. Gabor from the front to the back, and now on a charge to the front of this race to start the 7th lap. Firmly back up into contention for the lead of this race. Tom.
Yeah, Gabor not wanting to lose any time. He wants to get going again. Costa's gone round. This is going to be an issue. That has made contact. Straviko has hit him. That's surely going to be another safety car. Is it? No, Sarah. Sorry,
Sarah.
Not Straviko. I saw the Fragmaster car and just kind of assumed it was Straviko. It's bad on us. Both cars seem to have gotten away relatively okay. All wheels are attached. Sarah has a damaged front wing, but he still has the front wing. And in all this, Virtanen has just run away at the front. He's got a 3-second gap there as Lukastic is running wide. You don't want to be on there. He's got Gabor right behind him, so he's going to be worried about that one. As Straviko is making a lovely move up the inside there. Nicely done on Del Bari.
Yeah, I thought that Jimmy Virtanen had left his start a little bit late and had Costa alongside him as we watch Ayub come outside of Lucidi. Nearly touching here. Cars running very closely around this circuit. As I was saying, I thought that Jimmy Virtanen had left it a little bit late, but he got a good jump, and Costa was not there to get the jump with him. And since then, all the cars behind them racing. Costa then going around backward on the following lap, and now Jimmy Virtanen has a healthy lead of 3.5 seconds with the Fragmaster card of Daniel Lukastic behind him. Though Gabor will be through in any moment now. Gabor going much quicker than any of his competitors, bar maybe Straviko Saponyak, who has gotten up to 6th position after all of the schmozzles on the safety car restart. Watching him.
Someone's
Oh,
just
car
gone into
spears
barrier.
off to the left side of the road. He must.
It was Del Barry. It was Del Barry. Purple car,
Yeah,
Del
he
Barry.
went straight off.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. A lot of damage there. That's yeah, he's going to be going to the pits of that. Nicely, perfect positioning for him to get the damage though. He doesn't have to go that far, and he's nicely in. Hopefully, shouldn't get a safety car or anything like that. But as we were saying previously, that sector in the middle there, you get it slightly wrong, get slightly unsettled through the undulations, and you're gonna have issues. And it's proving quite catastrophic already.
It is. That was quite a scary incident from him because he went straight off the circuit. It looks like he must have gotten on the curb and then upset the car, because we're accustomed to seeing cars go over the curbs and then the rear come around. But he just speared straight off into the tire barriers. Fortunate for him that there were tire barriers there and he didn't go into one of the hard cement walls. That might have been a race over. All right, we'll take a moment to breathe and run down the order. In front, we have Jimmy Virtanen 5 seconds ahead of Daniel Lekostic now. In second position, Ayub Elanouni is up to third, 7 seconds off the lead with Gabor in fourth, slowly catching Ayub after he got through Lucidi running in fifth. Straviko Saponyak up to sixth position, 9 seconds off the lead. Ronnie Krampusch in seventh. Sean Lee, we see, is on the lead lap in eighth position. That was a timing bug that had discredited him one lap. He is now in the running in eighth position on the lead lap with Heikki Hyttinen in ninth. Santu Sara, we just saw collect Costa in 10th and 11th, and at the back, the car that just speared off into the tires, Delbury, now one lap down after going into pit lane. We watched Stravko go over the curb there. Oh, very, very well held by him to turn the wheel and get the car spun all the way around. He's going to rejoin in front of his teammate, but that cost him 2 or 3 positions. Santu might be able to get alongside him here. Stravko's let him go. Stravko has dirt on his tires, no grip. He will have to regroup and take that position once more. As we look ahead to Jimmy Virtanen extending his lead over Daniel Lekostic. Jimmy Virtanen surprised us in qualifying. He managed to jump up to third position in the final moments of qualifying, just a couple tenths off the leaders. So we know Jimmy is quick here today. Not accustomed to seeing him up front, but today the class of the field after an early collision, we'll remind everyone, between Straviko Saponyak and Gabor, who has now taken third position from Ayub.
Mentioned Straviko, he's gone back into the pits again. This is not the race he wants. There's stop number 3 for him. The first 2, of course, were under safety car, and then we got stop number 3 here. I do wonder what exactly he is doing tires-wise, or if it's just fuel or damage. We have to wait and find out. Tires, damage, and fuel, I am hearing in my ear. Of course, Virtanen now 6 seconds clear at the front. I do really hope, mentioning Ayub earlier, we forgot to mention last time out, he had many issues with his Wi-Fi, which cost him a fantastic race result. So I do hope that's sorted from today and we can see a great performance from him.
Yeah, we've got Daniel Lekostic in P2 looking at traffic. Delbury held him up a little bit, but politely gets off to the outside of the circuit to let Lekostic through, but that put Delbury. He let Lekostic through and then came back down, or went to the racing line and found Gabor right behind him. He should let Gabor through here. Gabor catching the leaders hand over fist as we're on board with Ayub, now looking to navigate the back markers. Should see Maxime Delbury out of the way. He is dutifully on the brakes a little bit early, and the top 4 are now through racing without worry of traffic. In the background, speaking of notable performances from 3 weeks ago, Sean Lee, who started from pit lane when we talked about him a few moments ago, was running 8th, is now up to 6th, 13 seconds off the lead. Sean puts on a good show for us. He's doing it again here today. Could see him up near the front as the complexion of this race unfolds. As we look back to Heikki Hyttinen in 7th place, who just lost this position, the 6th position, to Sean Lee a few moments ago, with Ronnie Krampusch behind him.
Yeah, Sean Lee showing some pace here today. He's climbed himself up to 6th place. I do wonder if the trick to get a good result here today is just to stay clean. We've seen a lot of errors from some people we'd really expect to be sitting around at the front. Speaking of, and so it's going to help someone like Sean Lee climb up through the back. He's only got another 5. He's 13 seconds off the lead, and he's in a strong position, and he could be looking to push for a podium here today.
I agree with you. And judging by how the times are shaking out, as we see Sean Lee now catching up with the back markers here, or the back marker, I should say. Sean Lee, we know he's one of the quicker cars on track. Jimmy Virtanen is, Sean thought about going to the outside there. Oh, Sean just gets into the back of the back marker. It would, it's so difficult to pass here. I don't really blame Dilbery for not just jumping out of the way because it's so easy to go off circuit, as he found a few laps ago. Sean trying to sneak through, goes on the outside. Dilbery on the brakes a little bit early to let Sean and Heikki Huhtinen through. Sean had gotten past Heikki Huhtinen and is now has Heikki on his tail once again, though now that they've cleared the back marker, Sean is able to pull away. I was saying a few moments ago about Sean Lee. We know he's one of the quicker cars on track. Jimmy Virtanen, I think, is surprising us today, and we know Gabor is very quick. Recently took second position from Daniel Lukastik, so Gabor is off and running, trying to find the lead. Not entirely sure what's going on with Dilbery here. He needs to get out of the way of the front runners.
Yeah, he's a lap down. He needs to just chill.
Yeah, he really does. But Sean has the pace to get near the front. I think it's fair to say he's quicker than Daniel Lukastik. We know he's on pace with Ayub, or he was a few weeks ago. So Sean Lee looking good for a top 5 here, as long as you said, Tom, he can keep it between the lines. I think the story today will be the Santusara getting through in one of the most difficult places on circuit. I just want to finish a thought, but we've got back markers all over the road. I think, as you were saying a few moments ago, Tom, the story today is to just keep it between the lines and stay out of trouble, and these guys will be on for a good result.
Yeah, there's a especially vicious curb at, I believe it's turn 1 on the outside there. That it's not conducive, as Straviko found out. You get on that and you go in round. I think that might have been what caused Costa to loop round as well. Noting Costa is now down in last place, so I wonder if he's picked up some extra damage somewhere, or if he just realised that the damage he picked up from his collision with Santusara is just costing him too much time, so he pitted in to repair it. We'll have to find out later. But I believe Gabor has gone past Daniel Lukastik. I might be a bit slow on that. I didn't notice that. But Gabor now in second place, nine and a bit seconds to the lead, and Daniel Lukastik just got a second back to Ayub behind.
Yep, a couple laps ago, Gabor went through Daniel Lukastik. You are right. But Gabor is losing time to Jimmy Virtanen through the last timing loop. Gabor lost about a tenth. Oh, and now he's gained it again. So Gabor and Jimmy appear to be fairly close on pace. Jimmy Virtanen just started lap 16, about 1/5 of the way through this race. In first position, 9 seconds clear of Gabor in second position, who tumbled down the order and then quickly rose back up to second position after a first lap coming together with Straviko Saponyak, who is running well down the order in 10th place. We'll talk about him again in a moment. Daniel Lukastik, pardon me, I've got the Tom syndrome. Straviko Saponyak's teammate, Daniel Lukastik, running in third position. There, I've got it out. Running ahead of Ayub Elanuni in fourth, Heikki Huhtinen in fifth, Ronan Kronpush in sixth, 20 seconds off the lead. Sean Lee has fallen back to seventh position. We didn't see what happened there. We'll ask around and see what's gone with Sean. He may have pitted, though. Judging by the timing, it looks like he may have gone off somewhere. Lucidi in 8th. Straviko Saponyak in 9th has been in pit lane 3 times after coming together with Gabor, changing tires, repairing damage, going up over the curb in turn 1, and then coming in to repair damage again. A rough day for Straviko. His teammate Santusara in 10th position. The back marker, Dilbery in 11th, and Costa, who had a half spin in turn 1 and collected one of the Fragmaster cars, running in 12th position. As we look ahead to Jimmy Virtanen, who is the class of the field once again today, 9.2 seconds ahead of Gabor. These two running nearly equal pace. Jimmy coming past the garages and up the hill once more to start the 18th lap of the race.
The car you can see up ahead of him is Straviko Saponyak. Not the sort of person you'd be expecting to get lapped in a race like this, especially after his qualifying performance.
No, and I don't anticipate he will easily let Jimmy through. We know he is very determined. We know he gets very frustrated. He'll put the bit between his teeth and try to drive as quickly as he can. But at the same time, he is honest and fair, so it is entirely possible that if he thinks Jimmy is that much quicker than he is, he might just let Jimmy through.
Oh, I will tell you the fastest lap of the race keeps showing it as Straviko goes very tail happy through the corner. Did well to hold on to it and not loop it, but he is not going to help himself with trying to gain back up to the cars ahead of him. He's got a nice big gap ahead of him. He's got 30 seconds to Lucidi in front. So it's going to be quite a lonely race for him, aside from the fact he's got the race leader coming around to lap him.
Now, I think Straviko's only prayer now, as Jimmy Virtanen is closing on him bit by bit, his only hope today is to get it done on strategy and perhaps see another safety car. Though, as these cars get spread out, I think a safety car is somewhat less likely. We just got a message from race control. Sean Lee was accidentally given an extra lap, and it will be deducted from him shortly. Apparently race control had not reset the lap count, so he will drop down a lap in a few moments' time. Or he said he thought he had. We'll get clarification on this. We will find out in a few moments' time where Sean Lee actually shakes out in the order.
He's now sat below. Sorry, he's just on my screen gone below Straviko, so they have taken a lap off him. I'm not sure where he's lost the lap, but would have been at the start of the race, and now Straviko. There we go. I've just been told he had damage and he had to pit for that. So that's why Straviko is ahead of him. And I think they might have added a lap to him by accident in the confusion with the formation lap restart.
That makes sense. Thank you, Tom, for summarizing that. Speaking of Sean Lee, Sean Lee's been a hot topic the last couple of events. We've got a bit more to talk about. If you're involved in the community much, keep an eye out for some interesting layouts from Sean Lee. We'll just tease these. I'm not going to give away too much, but Sean Lee, in addition to being a pretty good driver and a mouse driver at that, one of the very best mouse drivers, he is also pretty talented at creating interesting layouts for Live for Speed. So he's doing some work there that I think we may see in events coming up soon. When we have the chance to see those, be sure to drop a message to Sean if you've got a line of communication to him, because he's doing very good work that's very fun for us to see. So thanks, Sean, for all the work that you're doing on custom layouts for Live for Speed. Back with Jimmy Virtanen coming up on a back marker, comfortably in the lead. He's lost a little bit of time to Gabor. That is Straviko Saponyak moving off to the left side of the road. Oh, that'll just make him sick. He politely lets Jimmy through. I don't
hope he doesn't do what he did to Gabor now.
Yeah, that wouldn't be any good at all, would it? Yeah, I don't see much hope for Straviko Saponyak's race, but there is a long way to go yet. Only 1/4 of the way through the race. Gabor taking a little bit of time out of Jimmy on the last lap. That might be on account of Jimmy negotiating the back marker, but still fairly even at the top. 21 laps in.
That lap, Jimmy did his fastest lap of the race with a 51.01, and Gabor pipped it by a 1/10. So that's where it's coming back through.
Yeah, Gabor will need to do that every lap of the race from here to the end in order to close that gap, because they are fairly evenly matched. On board with Ayub, we could see him threading this very narrow ribbon of a racing line through these corners. He'll be losing downforce to the car ahead. He wants to get more onto the green curb on the right, but leaves plenty of respect for the grass on the left. Bringing the car tight down to the curb here. He wants to get good drive off this corner to stay in the slipstream of Daniel Lukostic. I believe all of these drivers in the top 5, the other 4 drivers in the top 5, probably a bit quicker. I'm really struggling today, guys. A bit quicker than Daniel Lukostic running in 3rd position, who benefited from the early incidents to come up to the front of the field and now slowly going backward. Great shot from Daniel Lukostic back to Ayub, who takes a ton of curb on the left side of the road. Now Ayub hard onto the brakes into this hairpin. That's the perfect line right there, over the curb, and now into Daniel's slipstream through this fast infield part of the circuit.
Yeah, abusing all the curbs through here, carrying as much speed as he possibly can. He's gonna dare it, using all the curbs there on the inside. He's absolutely flying through there. Getting in nice and close, only half a second between them, using all the curves wonderfully. That's the danger corner, that one right there. Get a bit wide and you're gonna end up in the barrier. This is going to give him a fantastic opportunity here down the start-finish straight. It's very long, so he's going to use this slipstream, see how close he can get him. He's 4 tenths behind now, and we'll see what that comes down to when he gets to the end. He quite possibly could be shaping up to make a move. As you see, he is closing in steadily. Of course, these cars don't have DRS. They've got to rely on the slipstream, but it looks like it's going to be just about enough to make... Oh, not quite this time. Maybe it looked to make a move later on in the lap or down the start finish. As I say, later on the lap, he looks to the inside. He's taking the lunge and he gets slight contact, but he gets on through. Fantastic move there by Ayub to get that third place spot off Daniel Lukastic. And he's now got that sweeping section in the middle where he only really got the one line, and it's car behind is going to suffer the aero drops. He's got this opportunity to run away. There's a huge skid marks there running off into the corner. So I wonder if someone's made a mistake there just recently. As he's absolutely flying around there using all the track available, and he's catching up to a car ahead. I'm assuming this is going to be a lapped car. Not sure exactly who it is, but he's coming up to the back of someone.
Yeah, great show from these two drivers. Ayub getting it done in the hairpin where they're using all of the steering lock to make it around the corner. Daniel Lukastic giving him just enough room and respect for both of them to make it through, and then giving us a show through the sweeping infield part of the circuit. Daniel Lukastic looked like it was all over, put a wheel on the grass, but managed to gather it up. We got Yimi coming up on traffic in the infield now. It looks like Roni Kronpush ahead of him. Roni, we've seen in earlier events that Roni doesn't really make this very easy. I think all of these drivers would like to see him jump out of the way, but Roni goes hard 10 out of 10 times. Yimi Virtanen, nice wide entry into the corner, all the way down to the curb. Perfect line. Roni gets a little bit wrong off the exit, but that will compromise his exit speed and let Yimi Virtanen get through easily with good drive off that final corner. Off he goes up the hill. It looks like Del Barry ahead of him, who will go down a second lap. Gabor behind Yimi Virtanen is slowly gaining. That gap a few laps ago was around 9 seconds, 5-6 laps ago, I'd say. Now down to 8.3, so Gabor ever so slightly quicker than Yimi Virtanen, but a tenth at a time, making up 8 seconds is going to take a lot more laps than we have in this race. So Gabor needs to find something on strategy or go a little bit quicker or benefit from a mistake by Yimi Virtanen or a combination of all of those factors. Right now, Yimi Virtanen fully in control of this race, negotiating the infield and coming around to turn 10 to start the 26th lap of the race in just a moment.
Yeah, one thing I will say, we'll do this. Gabor is catching up to the back of Straviko. That's how you say it, Travis. Remember that. I'm taking all the liberties I can because I'm doing it right today. Yeah. So we've got.
I imagine him with a very long beard, ZZ Saponyak. We can go with that the next time you struggle with it, Tom.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. As Straviko has just been given a drive-through penalty for the incident he caused in lap 1. I was going to say they were looking at seeing what they could do about applying a penalty. They were looking through it, and they've just applied it now. Gabor looking like he's not being too hindered by that penalty. Yes, he is down in second, but he is absolutely flying. He's set the fastest lap of the race 3 laps in a row. He did a 58.9, then a 58.85, and then a 58.8. So he's absolutely flying on back up the order now.
Yeah, Straviko is our friend and our colleague, so we love talking to him on both counts. But today we may want to just leave him alone after the race. That is insult on top of his many injuries. As we saw, somebody has crashed on pit in.
Yeah, I think it's Delbrie hit the pit entry barrier, hit the wall there. Yeah, look at that. He's got a bad damage to the front. He's properly bent in the front right suspension, and that's front wing damage. It's going to be a car limping around. Hopefully he'll be able to maintain some good speed, so don't have to worry about a safety car, but that would not be what our race leaders after. Straviko is now out of the pits, and Gabor has once again set another lap that's faster.
Yeah, that was Straviko Saponyak in the pits to serve a penalty. Scary moment there from Del Barry hitting the end of the pit wall, but I don't think anyone was compromised. As I was saying a few moments ago, Straviko, it's gone from bad to worse to even worse. Into the bollards inside the corner there. I think Straviko is having a bad day. Now he's let his teammate through. Straviko, I wouldn't blame him.
Dropped it on the throttle. It's not good. And the other Fragmaster car of Sarah has also retired from the race.
Whew. Today was a big opportunity for the Fragmaster team with 3 cars in the race. Daniel Lukastic was off and back on and looked like he had nearly saved it, but now into the tire barrier. Yeah, this is just a terrible day for the Fragmaster team. Daniel Lukastic comes back onto the circuit in front of Sean Lee, who doesn't take his foot out of it and makes the pass. Daniel Lukastic into the pits with a banged-up machine. Sean Lee goes flying by. He's not on the same lap as Daniel Lukastic. but benefits from Daniel Lacostic, who will be in the pits for some amount of time to repair that damage, in addition to doing further service. Lots happening, and we're only a third of the way through this race, Tom.
Yeah, it's as I was saying, it's just you got to keep it on the track. We've seen people just tumbling down the order, loads of people in the pits. We've had 3 of them there, Costa, Delbury, and then Lacostic joining him in there. So that's real shame for Daniel, as he was doing really well. I believe he was in 4th place at the time. So this isn't the result he's going to be wanting, because he's going to lose a lot of time with that one.
No, I was saying before that that sequence of incidents, that the start of this race looked very promising for Fragmaster. 3 cars in the race. They made it into the top 10 qualifying shootout. Straviko early on looked like he was recovering from that early incident while his teammates were running pretty well, and it has all come off for them. They had a chance at taking a big points haul with all 3 cars near or closing in on the front of the pack, and now it's gone just sideways for them, running 7th and 8th. And the retirement of Sentu Sara means no points for him and the Fragmaster team today. So we watch Sean Lee avoiding that huge curb on the right side of the road, running in 9th position. He's on the same lap as cars up to 6th, so I don't expect, barring any incidents, though we've seen plenty of those in this race so far, barring any incidents, he's not going to make it into the top 5, but it's not over yet, and we know he's quick, so he could work his way up to that 6th position, take it away from Ronan Krompusch and the cars away from him, and take value points. Jimmy Virtanen leaving his pit box now, falls to 2nd position with Gabor inheriting the lead. Jimmy is over the line.
I think
coming
that's
out of the pit exit.
I think it's needed by Virtanen, because Gabor was closing in the gap. I believe the gap was down to something like 5.8 seconds when Virtanen made his pit stop. So Gabor started just gaining loads of time. So I think Virtanen is going to have to possibly taking a slightly altered strategy to try and find some pace and gain stop just losing all that time.
Yeah, I didn't see what tires he went on to. We will look to get that information from Elmo in the background. Here now, he went from R4 to R3, so he was running very well on R4s early in the race. Now on R3s for the middle part of the race. Wait to see if he makes this a one-stop on R3s. That would be a pretty long stretch. A lot of stress on the tires on this circuit, but we'll see if he's able to make it work. I think we'll probably see him stop again for another set of R3s later in the running. But we look ahead now to Gabor, who has inherited the lead of the race on lap 31 from Jimmy Virtanen, who came into pit lane, has dropped to 3rd with Ayub in 2nd. Lucidi in 4th, Heikki Huhtinen, the final car on the lead lap, 50 seconds down from Gabor. Gabor will be catching him and putting him a lap down in just a few laps' time. Ronan Krompusch in 6th position. Daniel Lacostic, the first of the Fragmaster runners, 1 lap down in 7th position. His teammate behind him, Straviko Saponyak, running in 8th. Sean Lee, who looked to be running strongly early in the race, a timing mistake promoted him further up the order than he was supposed to be. Back down to 9th position, 1 lap off the lead, with Costa running in 10th and Delbury still going around in 11th. 3 retirements, 14 started, 11 still running. Tom,
I wonder
what
if
can Jimmy do?
I don't know, if I'm honest. He was doing fantastic pace on the R4, so swapping onto the R3 now. I believe Gabor did start on the R3. Have to get confirmed for that, so see if he can start matching that pace. Gabor once again putting in another fastest lap of the race with a 58.2. I would say he's got some clean air in front of him now, so he's just extending that lead as much as he can. Jimmy does have Straviko just ahead of him, which he's going to have to come back through and pass once he gets his tyres through the cycle. I don't know if Costa has left the pits. I'm seeing there is still a car sat in the pits. I'll have to double check that, but I wonder if, when you're so far down as Costa and Delbury's points, you're so far off gaining anything, is there much point in continuing circulating? But it's up to them.
If they're looking for championship points and just putting some up on the board, there's certainly reason to keep going around. Costa is in a points-paying position in 10th. That's good for 1 point. And Delbury running on the same lap. If anything happens to one of the drivers ahead of him, he could take a point or 2. And there's a long way to go yet. We've seen a lot of action. Even though the number of cars in the race are dwindling, they do tend to go off or come together every now and then. And I don't think we have any reason to believe that would change. So, still perfectly good points on the table for them. if their hearts are in it. As we watch Heikki Huhtinen come over the curbs, we talked about this section of the track many times. Very difficult to negotiate. That curb right there, the death curb, I believe you called it a few moments ago, Tom. Putting a wheel in the grass there will send you off into the barriers and cause a big event. And hearing from Elmo in our ears, and then from race control, there was contact in the hairpin. Jimmy Virtanen got together with Delbury. Both of them going again. Delbury now ahead of Sean Lee. We saw Sean Lee go sailing past him a few laps ago, and I have no reason to believe he won't just do it again. Oh, Sean Lee nearly gets into the back of him, just dives through. Very brave move from Sean Lee. We just saw it in the background. Now Jimmy Virtanen is into the pits.
That's not what he wants. That's Gabor's going to be sat there just very happy with this, but that's not what we want to see in a race here. He's getting that damage fixed. It's just unfortunate seeing a lot of incidents around some of the back markers here today. I think because of how short the lap is and how fast it is, the back markers do need to be a bit more aware of what's going on around.
Yeah, and we saw when Jimmy came to a stop that was not damage he would be able to drive around with the right rear of the car was pretty badly bent and got a significant repair. He is going again, coming across the pit exit line. That hasn't dropped him too far down the order because they're so far ahead of position 5, though Heikki Huhtinen, as I said, that goes through. So Jimmy Virtanen comes out in 5th position. He'll be a few seconds down the road from Heikki Huhtinen, but Jimmy, who was running in first and then looked like he was on for 2nd position at worst, now a lap off after an unscheduled pit stop to repair damage.
Yep. I have just seen, I believe it's Delbury has received a warning for ignoring blue flags as well. And that incident is also under investigation. So we'll have to see what the outcome for that one is.
Yep, as it should be. Oh, we got a great shot from Aroni here, following another car through. Oh, you can see how wide he goes on the, from the curb on the right side of the road, trying to follow in the slipstream, the terrible arrow drop from the car ahead. He's actually racing Jimmy Virtanen now. He's all over him. Roni gets great drive off the corner. Jimmy gets it a little bit wrong. Roni wants to keep it nice and tight here, get the power down as early as he can. Oh, Jimmy struggling on cold tires. Roni Kronpush gets great power off the corner and is through easily into this left-hander, though Jimmy Virtanen will have the slipstream coming up the hill. These two fighting as they come across the line. Roni on the right side of the road. Sorry, Roni on the right side of the road. Jimmy on the left. Jimmy lets, it looks like Ayub through. Yeah, Ayub is running in P2. Both of these cars racing each other, but carefully respecting the blue flags. Well done to all three of these drivers to let Ayub through and make this a tight race.
Yeah. For some people in the race, that's how you do it. That's taken out of that book. Fantastic, as Jimmy Virtanen has come back on through to regain that place from Roni after he made that slight mistake. It's crazy to think cars all the way down to 4th place are lapped. It's only the podium that is on the lead lap at the minute. Gabor is there serving his pit stop, so we're going to see a lead change, I believe, unless Ayub takes the pits. Gabor has gone for fuel only, so we're going to see where he comes out in relation to him. There we go. He's gone nicely through. Ayub now leading the race for us. I believe Ayub also still has to do his pit stop, and I believe Ayub's probably also on R3s or could be on R4s. We'll have to get clarification from the people behind for us.
He does indeed, and behind him we could see that deep shot looking back down the hill. The Jimmy Virtanen and Ronan Kronpush were racing one another side by side right ahead of Gabor, who had just come out of the pits. So they will have to do this again. Jimmy Virtanen! Jimmy Virtanen went over the curb on the exit of turn 1, has touched Daniel Lukostic. Oh, he went over the curb and came back on the circuit, and Gabor, it looked like a chain reaction of cars coming together. And Gabor gets tapped and spun around, rejoins. Don't know if he has damage. We will have to watch this car as he comes around through these bends. It looked like, I don't know if there was much the drivers could do.
I think missed his braking zone because he came flying on through and clattered into, I believe, the back of Gabor's car and somebody else's, I believe. There's no way that's going to go left unpunished.
Well, before that happened, Jimmy Virtanen had gone all the way over the curb on the exit of turn 1, that huge mountain of a curb, and he came back on. And I think Costa didn't expect him to come back on the circuit right in front of him. Costa got it wrong trying to avoid Jimmy Virtanen, and then there was just a chain reaction of cars bunching up coming into that very slow corner. So I mean, it all happened so quickly, and we don't have a replay handy, but it looked like just an unfortunate racing incident to me. But Jimmy Virtanen goes high on that curb again. We're watching Costa go around, but I'm looking at Jimmy Virtanen in the client. Yeah, Jimmy Virtanen in the wars with that huge curb.
I think something needs to be done about that curb, really, because it's a bit of a killer there. It's causing a lot of issues because it's so blind as you come around through there, and then if you make a slight mistake as a driver, you're getting heavily punished for it, which some say is good, but it's spinning people back into the road, which is causing issues for the following drivers who are innocent in the situation.
Yeah, and with all that puts Gabor back into second position ahead of this pack that he was trying to negotiate, but he's 10 seconds down from Ayub, and that also promoted Heikki Huhtinen back to the lead lap of the race. So Heikki Huhtinen still in it, though nearly a full lap behind, but he's gained a lot of time on the top three. Speaking of top three, a name we've not seen before. Well, a name we have seen before, but a name we have barely talked about is Lucidi, running in third position. Tom, the theme of this race that you've repeated yourself several times is that the key to success is just keep the car between the lines and stay out of trouble. And Lucidi has done that. 23 seconds off the lead. Everyone else in front and behind him going off circuit, collecting other cars, running into the end of the pit lane barrier. But Lucidi hasn't pitted yet, so he will fall down the order probably. I got conflicting messages in my ear. He has pitted, so he's running third position on merit as Ayub comes into the pits. This will promote Gabor back to the lead of the race. And Heikki Huhtinen looks like he will go through up to third. He does. Lucidi drops down to fourth.
Yeah, Ayub, well, I think quite frankly will be rubbing his hands together after Gabor suffering that incident, because what I noted from Gabor's pace after that incident is that he was losing time to Ayub, who was on the R4s. So Gabor's definitely got some sort of damage. I think I have to try and spot it, but we're not going to know exactly how much that's costing him.
Yeah, it looks like the rear of at least one part of the rear of the car is bent. I think it looks like the left rear part of the wing is broken, and he will have taken a little bit of suspension damage in that collision. So good observation, Tom. Off the pace on account of damage to the machine. So Ayub now back in the running as long as his Wi-Fi doesn't let him down and he stays out of trouble on circuit.
Just heard that the left tire is a long way forward from where it should be, so that's going to upset the balance of that car awfully. As Straviko Saponyak, I'm just noticing, is also making a move on Roni Krompus. I'm not sure if that's the position. Yes, it was. Straviko's got himself up to fifth position, which is from where he was just a few minutes ago. We were thinking it's not a good day for him, but with Gabor having these car problems, Straviko, it's quite possibly in the running for him. Yes, he is. He's just 55 seconds off the lead, which is just shy of a lap. So he's going to have the leaders not too far behind him. But if Gabor's got the damage, it's going to have to see what sort of times he's doing in comparison to Straviko.
Yeah, Gabor took an interesting line. This is a great shot because we could see how Gabor drives through. Ooh, what? That was perfect timing. Gabor takes an interesting line through turn 10 with the rear of the car trying to run to pit lane while his fronts stay on the circuit. Roni takes an interesting line through the sweeping part of the circuit. He stays, so there's the very fast right-hander as you crest the hill before you take the double left-hand bend into that diabolical turn 9, and he stays all the way to the left and then cuts off the curb to let the car run wide out to the right. We'll try to get another shot of it the next time where we follow Roni around. But it looked a bit different from how the other drivers are getting through there. I wonder if it's a little bit quicker, if he's just comfortable going that way. Interesting to see slight variations from the different drivers at different points on the circuit. Yeah, now looking at Gabor once more. Go ahead, Tom.
Don't want to be harsh towards Roni, but obviously not the fastest on track today. So I wonder if it's a case that he's doing it some more of a safety reasons. If it makes the track a bit more settled, it's a bit slower, but the car's safer through there. Because I haven't seen him had too many issues there. I might be wrong there, but I haven't personally seen him had an issue through there.
And at that particular point on the circuit, because you run wide over that curb, if you try to bring the car back to the right and you're too far over the curb on the left, it is easy to lose the rear of the car. So if you just keep the car pointed straight and put the power down going straight to the next corner, it is easier, safer to keep the car on track than it would be to come back across. Looking at Heikki Huhtinen now running in third position, 43 seconds off the lead. He's been promoted to the podium after after an exciting sequence of events involving Gabor coming together with a back marker a few laps ago. We're past the halfway mark now, watching Gabor come through the infield. Gabor is in the lead of the race, 20 seconds clear of Ayub, who is in the hunt for a win. Ayub going quickly, Gabor running around with a damaged car, and a lot of laps left in this race. Heikki Huhtinen promoted to third position. Gabor goes very close to the bollards on the right side of the road there, nearly over the grass, upsetting the car. Heikki Huhtinen in third, Lucidi in fourth, Straviko Saponyak up to fifth position, though he has the leader of the race bearing down on him now, about a second up the road. Roni Krampusch in sixth position, just talked about him a moment ago. Jimi Virtanen, who was in control of this race early and then had it all go wrong, down to seventh position, 1 lap off the lead. Daniel Lukastik running in eighth, Sean Lee 2 laps off the lead in ninth. Costa in 10th, 3 laps back, and Delbarry still going around looking for a single point in 11th position.
Yeah, it's just got to be noting on the timings. Boar is pulling away now from Ayub. I think that's probably because Ayub's tyres are still going through their heat cycle. Of course, it's just such a short lap here. I think the tyres probably don't get up to temperature just as quickly as they do in other places. So he's going to have that to get up to temperature, and then he can start trying to close that gap back down. Now he's onto the quicker of the 2 tyre compounds we expect from the drivers here today. As he runs massively wide.
That right there was a great demonstration of the line that Roni was taking that I was talking about a few moments ago, though it looked like Ayub had not done it intentionally. He pointed the car straight so that he didn't go spearing off into the grass there. Good shot over Ayub's shoulder as he comes past the pit boxes. Oh, Gabor coming by Roni into the hairpin to put him a lap down.
Yeah,
Straviko Saponyak will be his next victim up the road. Just a couple seconds with Delbarry in between them. Delbarry going to go down 1 more lap. Delbarry very dutifully out of the way after having been given a warning by race control for respecting blue flags.
Yep. Still waiting for the investigation on the crash at turn 2 to come to fruition. I am expecting it to be something towards Costa, of course, but that's a fantastic shot there down the start-finish straight. Lovely Houghton. Fantastic. You get to see, wonder if it's possible to possibly next time Straviko goes through there, see him so we can see just how far, whereabouts Gabor is in relation to catching up to him for the lapping.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot of a beautiful car. This nice, it looks like the Jaguar machines from the early 2000s with that dark British racing green, but that nice red pit stripe separating it from the white, and then Sim broadcast stickers all over that car.
Yeah,
we appreciate that, Heikki.
Just something to note. I think Lucidi might have made some sort of error because he started in that lap. He was a second clear of Straviko, and now Straviko is right on his rear bumper. So.
Yeah, Straviko was only something's. I think Gabor has made a mistake somewhere because that gap to Straviko Saponyak's gap to Gabor was about 55 seconds, now down to 53.
Yeah.
So Straviko Saponyak on the lead lap once again. Thought he was completely out of it, and it does look grim after, frankly, an awful race for him. But he is still in it. He's alongside. Whoa! He's alongside Lucidi. Takes a look. Thinks better of it. Yeah,
makes a safer play definitely there. Not no need to try and push it. Just sit there nicely under his rear bumper and just make the move when it comes available to you. He is of course pulling away from Gabor as we're seeing here. He's pulled I think about 2 seconds on him in the last couple of laps. Being stuck so close to the behind of Lucidi isn't going to help him, but we're going to see what he's able to pull back out next, as I'd also like to say Daniel Lukastik has retired from the race.
And there we go. That was the topic that the refrain that we've repeated a few times as we watch. Great shot. We got to see Straviko following through the infield and then diving to pit lane from the back of Lucidi's machine. He will secure 4th place as Straviko comes in for his 4th or 5th stop of the race. He has spent a lot of time in pit lane. Our refrain has been staying between the lines, staying out of trouble, and that's promoted Delbarry and Costa to 9th and 10th. So in the points, Delbarry's gotten past Costa. Costa was running ahead of him a few laps ago, so Delbarry on for 2 points right now. in a challenging race.
Costa
Still
recently
paying the
made
points
a
and going
pit
around.
stop. Costa
I
dove
think
into
you
the
are
pits a
probably
few laps
yes.
ago, which is why which has allowed him Delbury on through. So it's going to be an interesting battle for that 9th place position, depending on whereabouts they are in relation to each other on track. I'm not exactly sure where that is, but we could end up having a battle for that one.
Yeah, you are correct. Those positions, as you were talking, they just reversed. Costa ahead of Delbury again, so I think Delbury was in pit lane. I don't believe they are racing on circuit, but we can check on that. Gabor comes through turns 9 and 10 once more. He's got a 23-second lead on Ayub, so growing ever so slightly, even though the back of that car is a little bit out of sorts. You can see that the wing is broken, and we know the suspension is slightly bent.
Delbury has just been given a 10-second stop-go penalty for causing a incident on lap 33 at turn 2. So I'm not sure which one that was, but there he goes. He's in to serve it.
Yeah, this is a mistake that we've seen repeated in MRC and NDR events a few times. There is a we refer to it as the sin bin. There is a penalty box that you are meant to stop in order to serve a penalty. There we have the camera on it right now. You can see the cones and the sign denoting it. So Delbury has stopped in a pit box to serve a penalty. It's entirely possible he stopped in a box to actually take service and will then stop in the sin bin. But that is a contravention of the rules.
As we're talking, Straviko's just made the move on Jimmy Virtanen to take back that position. So he's promoted himself back up to 6th place now, and he's really getting his hunt back on, try and get that positions back. He could quite possibly be looking at a podium with this. He's not too far off that position as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and it's a shame we missed that. I just looked over and saw it in the client. He not only made that pass on Jimmy Virtanen, but he did it on the outside, one of those very fast sweeping bends in the infield. So a brave move from Straviko Saponyak to move up one position on Jimmy Virtanen. Not over yet for Straviko. Straviko, we know, never gives up. Yes, he is indeed. Ayub falling off the lead. Last we looked, last we talked about it a few laps ago, it was 23 seconds, now up to 24 and change. So though Gabor's car is not everything he would like it to be right now, a bit of damage on the rear, he is making it work and pulling away from his competitors.
Yeah, he's not setting the lap times he was, but he's doing the timings. He's got the speed. I don't know where he's getting it from, because that car does not look anything convincing about where it should be.
Yeah, Elmo's made an interesting note in our ears that makes perfect sense now that we think about it. The damage is on the left side of the car, and the turns are predominantly to the left, so it's going to help that car turn in a little bit. Shorter distance to cover through most of the corners on the circuit. That will make it easier for him to get around in spite of that damage as we watch Lucidi let Gabor through.
I wonder if we can just get an onboard shot looking at the rear, so we can, after just seeing how a car should look, and there you go, that's how Gabor's looks.
Yeah, the safety car light is a bit wonky, in addition to the wing being off kilter. But this bend right here, this would be very slow where the damage on the other side of the car. But with the, I guess, the way that the suspension has bent and the direction that the track goes, he's able to carry speed through those corners. Perhaps it's made it even quicker. If we go look at his times, his previous lap was 59.24. He is very far off his ultimate pace. So, but still running quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, he's doing the job he needs to be doing right now. I think Straviko is gaining a little bit on him. We can't see exactly, because I think Straviko's last lap. We're going to see what Straviko's doing now, so we're going to see if he's closing on him. I think he is, as he's coming up, crossing start finish line now. He just did a minute 6, so no, he's not closing.
Not sure where a minute 6 would have come from. That he may have had an off somewhere, or if he's been in pit lane.
Sorry, it's a minute 0.6.
Oh, minute 0.6.
Sorry, not a minute.
That makes
6
more
seconds.
sense. So he has been off somewhere. Yeah. Speaking of Straviko Saponyak, having a difficult day as we watch him negotiate these sweeping bends. And now ahead to Ayub, who is trailing Straviko to put him down one more lap. If you look in chat, we do have a driver of the day poll today, as we have at all of the previous events. We look to Dilbury, who is now in the sin bin, serving this penalty appropriately. That should, I believe that'll drop him another lap. It already has, in fact. He's now one lap off Costa in P9. Still going around for points, though. He can't do worse than 10th. So worth it for him to try to take 1 point for the Gum Garage team. As I was saying, driver of the day poll is in chat, so please look to chat, click that link, vote for your driver of the day.
Yep.
For me, Tom, I would say it is Gabor. If we had made this call 20 laps into the race, I would say Jimmy Virtanen for having taken advantage of the schmozzle at the start and then running cleanly in the lead, and then that's all gone wrong for him. Gabor has had many challenges thrown at them and has batted them all away, now dealing with a car that is slightly bent but still going quickly in the lead, 26 seconds clear of Ayub.
Yeah, personally for me, it's between Gabor and Ayub. Ayub, I can't exactly remember where he started, but he's had a fantastic race. He's kept himself out of danger and he's coming up through nicely. As we've just heard that somebody else has just retired, it was Delbury, so he's not going to get that point for finishing in 10th place.
He will not. So much for that story. That said, Costa, 4 laps down, still going around for 2 points for P9. Sean Lee ahead of him has gone down another lap running in 8th position, so it's not gone as well as Sean Lee would like. He might have benefited from starting from pit lane, being that far behind the second lap incident. First lap was an aborted start, a second formation lap. But it's gone wrong for Sean. Had to pit for damage early on in the race and has not been able to recover as we watch him get it a little bit wrong through the middle of the corner, nearly up and over that curb. Race has settled down a bit for the moment as we look to Gabor in first position, coming through the start-finish and into turn one more time. There we go.
Just disappeared on my screen, so I'm hoping he's not disconnecting.
Oh, no, not again. Oh, this is
no
terrible.
Way. Oh, this is heartbreaking for him. Hopefully he's able to stay in. Hopefully.
No. Yeah, it just I tabbed to him just as he timed out. Yeah, he is coming back in. He will. Pete said in my ear that he'll get his lap back, but I'm not sure that's true. We'll check on that. He won't be. Well, he will. Okay, now I'm just going to relay all of these things as Pete says them to me, to everyone watching the broadcast. He is credited for his completed laps, but he will not be credited for the lap he was driving. So he will fall 1 lap down the order. We see him there in 9th while the tracker updates his positions. He is rejoining in 6th. It'll be 7th position. So at the end of you'll be at the tail end of the cars running 1 lap behind. So that was a P2, has gone away. We know he's quick enough to get through the cars ahead of him. He might be able to move his way up to 5th, 6th position. But once again, Ayub let down by his internet connection, disconnects, able to immediately rejoin. Another result taken away by a technical malfunction.
Getting heartbreaking for him at this point. I don't think we should have mentioned his internet. It was all going fine until we mentioned it, and then a couple of laps later, the internet strikes. Personally, I blame Travis.
I'll take it. It makes no sense for us to blame anyone, so you might as well blame me. We watch Gabor go through the back marker, that beautiful machine, that green-white machine with the sim broadcast stickers and the red pinstripe separating the white from the green. I love how this car looks. It is gorgeous. Heikki Huhtinen, speaking of, has been promoted to 2nd position. He was on the lead lap. He was just demoted to a lap down by Gabor, who went through after the start-finish line. Gabor now a full lap ahead of everyone in the field.
Yeah, I know you were saying he's gone round the back markers, but I don't know how much of a back marker you can call 2nd place. I think Gabor's just driving that well at the minute.
Yeah, I think if you get blue flags, then you're considered a back marker. But if you're not racing anyone, does it really matter? Well, we'll see. Curious what chat thinks. Chat, discuss the merits or the lack thereof of what is considered a back marker. In any case, Gabor fully in control now.
Yeah.
1 lap ahead of the entire field. We expect he'll need to pit again, so some of those cars will regain a lap when he does that. The first of them should be Heikki Huhtinen. After the trials and tribulations of all his competitors, up to second position, staying out of trouble between the lines, like we've repeated many times.
Yeah.
Watching him negotiate.
Costa has received a 10-second stop-go penalty for his bowling trip he did in turn 2 a few laps ago. I think 10 seconds for that is a little bit light, but stewards made their decision, and I think Costa is so far behind. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, that one I'm not sure about. It all happened pretty quickly, and we haven't been able to take a second look at it, but it looked like he was caught out by. It looked like he was caught out by the car rejoining the circuit. Jimmy Virtanen coming back over the curb. So, but again, I didn't see it that closely myself. So, the race directors know what they're doing. We respect their calls. They tend to make good decisions. So, as you said, Tom, that is what it is. 10-second stop-go penalty. It doesn't affect him much. He was in 9th. He is still running 9th. He is not competing with anyone on circuit. Yeah, so, as long as he keeps going around.
There you go. He's just served his penalty as well. Steve?
Watching Gabor once more, he could afford to back off and just trundle around. But we saw him go sailing through the curbs in the final corners of the infield. And now over the curb here on the left and up the hill. Still driving quickly, keeping the rhythm where he likes it to be.
Yeah.
And hearing in our ears from Elmo that he is stretching to do his final stop. So we do expect him in one more time. Probably take R3s with less than 20 laps remaining in the race. Correction on that. He hasn't changed tire compound yet. Yeah, Tom.
So he started on the R3s, swapping onto the R4s for as little time as possible. I'm not sure exactly how much time he loses for pit stop here. Is it about 20-25 seconds? So he's going to have about a 30-35 second buffer when he comes out the pits. So he's going to be a solid half a lap ahead. He's got time to just be safe. And Houston has gone into the pits, which is promoted Lucidi into second place. And Straviko Saponyak he is the king of comebacks at this point. He is up to third place. Not sure if he needs another pit stop. I think he might. If he is, he's definitely going for some sort of record with pitting. But yeah, he's here and he's good on tires, but he might need fuel. So I'll have to see what's going on.
This is honestly stunning to me. The thing. It seems like things tend to go wrong for him early in the race. He or others make it difficult for him, and then he just puts together these absurd performances to crawl his way back up the order, and then take a good finish. He's only 20 seconds off Lucidi in second position. We know Straviko's a lot quicker than Lucidi, so he might be on for second. We know Heikki Huhtinen, after a cycle of pit stops, should come back up the order at least a couple positions. So there's a lot happening here.
Hearing Straviko that Heikki.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I think Straviko should be fine on fuel. So we'll have to see how he does in relation to the pace of the others ahead. He's going to have to, if he wants that second place, he's going to have to go in at over a second a lap, which is a tall ask. So we'll have to see how he's going to do in relation to Lucidi over the coming laps.
Yeah, Lorenzo Lucidi just did his fastest lap of the race at 59.32. Straviko's fastest was a full second quicker in the mid 58s. Ran a little bit slower on the last lap. Not sure why that is, assuming that's just his pace going around right now, but still quicker than Lorenzo Lucidi. So we know Straviko's faster than Lorenzo Lucidi. Straviko's faster than most everyone on the circuit. As we see that gap come down, Straviko takes a second out of Lucidi. So doing what he needs to do about a second a lap would get the job done, though catching is not passing. That is an entirely different story. Still watching Gabor go around. Keep an eye on Straviko Saponyak, Heikki Huhtinen. We expect if drivers ahead of him need to stop, Straviko's not one of them. If drivers ahead of him need to stop, then he may yet be promoted. So still some shakeups that we may see in the closing laps of this race.
Have to see if Lucidi needs to pit as well. Don't know if he does or not, but either way, it's going to be close because if you remember, Lucidi did have Straviko right on the back of him actually when Straviko went for that last pit stop he made. So Lucidi, I'm just hearing he does need the tyre change, so he is quite probably going to be conceding this position to Straviko, which is going to be one of the fantastic comebacks we've seen. And Jimmy Vertinen, who's sticking in there, I don't know if he needs another pit stop, but he quite possibly could be looking at P3 here as well.
He could be. So we know Straviko does not need to stop. He has fuel to go the distance, and he has been through a couple tire changes. He is good to go on tires. Lucidi does need to come in and change compounds. Jimmy Virtanen, we're not sure about. Heikki Huhtinen is far enough back that he can only be promoted a position or two. But Straviko Saponyak, the car we are watching in P3 right now, will be promoted to second position as long as he stays out of trouble. That's been difficult for him to do today. Straviko Saponyak on for an incredibly unlikely second position with 16 laps remaining in the race.
Yeah, here in Versen may need fuel. He is good on tyres, so if he timed his previous pit stop good enough to be able to take him all the way to the end. We'll have to find out shortly. We've got 15 laps to go, and it's looking like Gabor is just cruising to a victory.
Yeah, Gabor following Sean Lee right now, trying to put him another lap down. Gabor will want to be very careful negotiating Sean Lee. Sean Lee dutifully gets out of the way. We're watching Straviko go around, but believe me when I say that Sean Lee moved out of the way very politely and let Gabor through. Sean weaving. There we cut to Sean just in time to see him weave. He watches our streams as he drives because he is a lunatic who can focus on two things at once. See if we get a complimentary weave for me calling him a lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Back at it again. Not quite the performance Sean Lee would have hoped for today. Took a lot of damage early on. Had the pit stop where he lost all the time and he lost a lap as a result. And I don't think he's really recovered properly since that, which is unfortunate for him.
It really is, because he's run cleanly. We saw him go so well 3 weeks ago at South City, and he's been pretty clean today, but that one incident has ruined his race, so that's too bad for him. Gabor, following Gabor around once more, staying out of trouble, well clear of the grass on the right side of the road coming into turn 10. The exit of this corner is really tricky. I don't know the full story. Maybe somebody in my ear will, but I suspect that this track was designed to go one way long before, running them in reverse and all of these custom layouts was a thing. So the exit of that corner doesn't actually have curbing on the outside. There's a very narrow curb, and then you get over to the kind of grass tile or the green colored tiles. So it's an awkward exit out of turn 10. Really easy to go wide and then go on the grass there. So has to get These drivers have to be very careful to get a late exit there and avoid going into the grass, running wide and losing time going on that very long straight.
Seeing Gabor just absolutely sweep round this nice tight section. Absolutely lovely. Just using all the curbs, using all the apex, just carrying the speed on through and just not taking any real risks from what we can see. It's just circulating to get the job done. Straviko is now only 9 seconds behind Lucidi. In the time when we haven't mentioned it, he has halved the gap.
Yeah, I was about to say that speaking of carrying speed, Straviko Saponyak cut 10 seconds off Lucidi, as you just said. So we should 4 seconds in the previous lap. We should cut to Straviko and watch him in his pursuit of Lucidi to take P2. We will remind everyone Straviko Saponyak does not have to. Straviko doesn't have to stop, but Lucidi, that wasn't Lucidi off ahead of him. It was Ayub.
Let's see if he can keep going. He's gotten very lucky there. I'm hearing he's only got car shock damage. The gods have been smiling down on him after that disconnection. That is, yeah. I'm hearing he's trying to copy Gabor with shortening his left wheelbase, seeing if he can find a bit more speed with that one. But the shock damage is not going to help him at all.
Yeah, we saw him go off in the background there, and the way he was in the barriers looked like he had put a wheel off over that curb on the left side of the road in turn 9. We know that's one of the most dangerous corners on this track, but based on the damage that Mo has observed and told us about in our ears, and And the way the front of the car looks, it looks like he managed to go straight into the barriers with the front of the car, sparing him another trip through pit lane and losing even more time. As we look down on Straviko Saponyak coming into turn 10, closing in on 10 laps remaining. That gap to Lucidi down to 7 seconds. So Straviko Saponyak is coming.
I wonder, hear me out here. If Lucidi's in the pits now, I've just seen, I think he's in the pits. Not 100%, but I wonder if he's possibly looking to make a move onto the R2s and take them all the way. Or if that's it now.
Yeah, there he is, leaving pit lane. That front wing bent a little bit. He's gone to R4s in order to satisfy the requirement to change compounds. Woo! Gets a little bit wrong over the curb coming out of pit lane there. That promotes Straviko Saponyak to second position. Straviko, who made 2 stops before being given a penalty and serving the penalty and then making another stop, has been promoted to second position. This is determination and perseverance going around on screen right now. All he has to do is keep it between the lines, stay out of trouble, avoid any incidents, and he will have come back from one of the worst races in his memory to take second position.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll remind everyone that there is a Driver of the Day poll live. Look for that link in chat. Vote for your Driver of the Day. It is becoming Straviko Saponyak for me for persevering after an awful race. He is now 8 seconds ahead of Jimi Virtanen. Lucidi has tumbled back to 5th as we watch Gabor come into pit lane. Ooh, locks the tires. Left it a little bit late on the brakes, and he didn't need to. He's in his box, switching to R4s. He will take fuel as well. Straviko Saponyak will be too far back to come on to the lead lap, but he does have second position locked down. Gabor now rolling again. He will be coming through the pit exit line in just a moment. Now off the limiter. And off he goes back onto circuit, well ahead of Straviko Saponyak in second position. So Gabor has taken his final pit stop. Everyone has taken their required tire change now. Everyone has switched compounds. We believe everyone is good to go until the end of the race on tires and fuel. The order is Gabor in first position, 1 lap ahead of Straviko Saponyak in a truly astonishing second position. Jimi Virtanen, after leading the race early, going off, coming back on, is now back in the podium positions in third. Heikki Huttunen runs in fourth. Looked like he might be on for a podium earlier, but the pit stop cycle has demoted him behind Jimi Virtanen, his countryman, in fourth position. In fifth, we have Lucidi, who was running in the podium positions a few months ago. One of his competitors going off ahead of him could still promote him a position. Rony Krompusch is running in sixth. Ayub in seventh after running so well in P2, let down by his internet once more, and then went off with a big shunt. Managed to get away with it just a few moments ago. Sean Lee running in eighth, and Costa still going around 3 laps back of Sean Lee, taking valuable points with 2.
Yep. So it says, well, Costa, salt in the wound for his race. He's got another drive-through penalty, this time for speeding in the pits. So the race is going from bad to worse for him. And quite frankly, for me, driver of the day, I'm stuck between Gabor and Straviko. He's just been on another level. He's a lap ahead. It's the pace from him this time around is quite frankly ridiculous. As Jimi Virtanen has gone into the pits, so this is going to cost him third pace. So we're going to have to see where he comes back out. I'm assuming he's probably going to drop down to something like 5th or 6th. We'll have to see now, as Huttunen has been promoted to that third place spot. He's got 10 laps. He just needs to keep circulating, and then he will be getting that podium.
Yeah, that put Lucidi up to 4th as well. So Jimi Virtanen got it a little bit wrong. Oh, Rony Krompusch has gotten through too. So Jimi Virtanen comes out behind Rony Krompusch just a couple seconds up the road. So Rony promoted to 5th, Lucidi to 4th, Heikki Huttunen in the in the podium positions with 3rd. Many circumstances, many incidents, many unexpected somethings. I'm struggling for diction here.
The race keeps changing.
The complexion has changed so often that it's been hard to keep track of all of it. There we go. We've got Straviko Saponyak on screen once more, coming through this hairpin in a truly unlikely second position, or what appeared to be an unlikely second position about 40 or 50 laps ago. Number 2 in position 2. Thank you for that, Mo, in my ear. Looking to chat. So this is one thing I admire about people in this community is the contrition and the honesty. This would be Tom Fuel from the Gum Garage team, has apologized for Delbarry's driving in the race. Delbarry earlier on was struggling with his competitors coming through with blue flags and got into a few incidents. So we appreciate that from the Gum Garage team. Rough day for Delbarry. We hope he's able to come back and do a bit better in a few weeks' time for round 4. But we do appreciate that from the Gum Garage team.
Yeah, the race is settling down a bit. Gabor's struggling a little bit with his tyres, I believe, just not quite getting them how he wants to do. He's got 8 laps to go. He's got a lap in hand and some seconds change. Realistically, he doesn't need to push. He just needs to keep circulating. Okay, I think he was just going a bit slower than normal through there. He's going to have 6 laps at the line. I think it's 6 or 7 laps at the line. 7 laps have just been told. So, just realistically, unless he plans to lose something in the region of 15 seconds a lap, I think he's going to be very okay.
Yeah, he will have to be careful because he needs to keep the tire temperatures up in order to keep the grip and to maintain his pace. He doesn't want to fall out of his rhythm, but we can see that he's driving kind of tentatively, trying to put heat in the tires, but also dealing with the lack of grip. So he will need to be careful in the remaining 7 laps. While we were talking about Gabor taking care of his tires, Costa, who was 3 laps down, was going around to take 2 points for 9th position, timed out. So hopefully he can rejoin before the race concludes so he can actually collect those points. But as it is, he won't have them. Sean making a pass.
Sean's making a pass back on Heighton, I believe it is, just to get the lap back on that position. So he now just needs... Well, he'd need to gain a minute in six laps, and it's not really going to happen. But it's good to see the fight's still there for him to climb.
Yeah, it's smart from Heike to just let him through. Heike, like Gabor ahead of him, has nothing to gain by racing anyone on the circuit unless Lucidi showed up on his gearbox. So wise by Heike to just let Sean through, let Sean get on with his race and collect as many scruples or points as he possibly can. Looking to Gabor now, coming through the hairpin. Gabor said before the race that he was not very motivated to do well here because the circuit was challenging and he didn't care for it very much. But he has managed to figure it out with a little practice, and then in pre-qualifying and qualifying, absolutely dominating performance today ahead of Straviko Saponyak in a 2nd position, who we did not expect to see in 2nd position earlier in this race. Oh, Gabor, those cold R4s, the lack of grip, just gets it a little bit wrong. Points the car straight, straightens out the wheel, gives us a nice weave. Perhaps he's watching as well. This is the Sean Lee show manifested into Gabor's car. Jimmy Virtanen and Lucidi racing on track now, so there is still racing to see on the circuit. These two are on the same lap. They are actually racing for this 4th position. Jimmy Virtanen took 4th position from Lucidi. Lucidi quickly dropping back. So Jimmy Virtanen clearly has more pace than Lucidi.
Dropping back to Roney. It's only 2 seconds there, and he's gaining a bit. We're going to have to see how he did. I think we missed Jimmy getting back past Roney because, of course, Roney was ahead of him when Jimmy came out the pits. So we're going to have to... Roney is gaining so much time on Lucidi. I wonder if Lucidi's got some sort of damage or is really struggling with his tires or something, because he just doesn't have the pace, it seems, at the end of the race here.
Well, if I recall from the stop a few laps ago, he had to change compound. Looks like, yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got right-hand damage. Roney's going to go through easily. Lucidi lets him through, so yeah.
Yeah, I think he needed to repair the damage at his pit stop, and he just didn't do it. And as a result, it's probably cost him more positions than if he just fixed the damage and went from there.
Yeah, that's a shame for him because it was going well, but did not have enough time in hand to go around with the damaged machine. Costa has rejoined. Yep. Yeah, Costa has rejoined in 9th position. So as long as he can hold on for 4 more laps, all he has to do is stay out of the way, not collect any of the front runners, and he will be on for 2 points.
Yeah. Boar coming on for 3 laps. Bo's just said in here as a joke, R2 time, and to be honest, with the way he's been struggling on those R4s and the gap he's got, I don't think it'll be too bad of an idea. If the tyre will give him more grip for a couple of laps, but he could possibly go and set another faster lap.
Yeah, the term we hear on F1 broadcasts is pit stop in hand or free pit stop, and he has one. If there were a point for fastest lap of the race, I suspect he would consider that if he didn't already have it. I believe he does. I'm looking at the timing sheet. He does indeed comfortably as the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, so I think he can afford to suffer for 3 more laps on these awful R4s, and he will be just fine.
Yeah, it looks clear. He's got a minute and a bit in hand to him, and then I believe Sean and Ayub are battling currently. We'll have to see where they are. Sean's diving into the pits. A bit unsure what that's about. We'll have to find out shortly when he makes that stop. There he is. Find out what it is now. And
I have a cheeky meme prediction, and that is Sean's going to come in for R2s to set a quick lap, and maybe Sean trying to steal the driver of the day. You're not fooling anyone. Fastest lap of the race isn't good enough, Sean.
Ayub has disconnected and reconnected and has left the pits, and he's lost even more time as a result, unfortunately. So yeah. And it's going from bad to worse for Ayub. It's not what you want to be seeing.
And he will come back up to 8th once the timing cycles through. Ooh, he nearly picked up another penalty there. He just touched the pit exit line. We might get a message from race control about that because he was awfully close to it. Looking at Gabor coming through the back markers now, carefully negotiating the moving chicanes while driving around on these very slippery R4 tires. Ayub back up to 8th position. The tracker has credited him with the laps he had already completed. So still on for some points, though he was looking much better earlier in the race for his first disconnection. Hopefully he can sort out his internet and the results will actually reflect his superb driving.
I wonder.
Speaking of... Tom, go ahead.
If we're able to watch Sean Lee try for that fastest lap of the race. That's what... coming round for his fastest lap of the race. Just see if we can watch this quickly and then swap back to watching Gabor as he comes round to win the race, because unless something horrific happens, I think that's what's going to be happening here.
Yeah, Gabor has just started the final lap behind Sean Lee. I think it's about 4 or 5 seconds on the road is where it'd be. Ooh, Sean really tight on the curb there. That looked really good. Here, we'll call. We didn't get a really clean one in qualifying, so here he goes over the curbs on the left, and now he's going to go wide of the curb on the right, really close to the curbs on the right side of the road, just over the left side, manages to stay off the concrete on the opposite side of those curbs. Now tight over this curb. He's got to pitch it into the corner over the green concrete, all the way out to the curbs on the left. Now going to brake on the curbs here to get a nice entry into the corner. He's left it a little bit wide. Oh, no!
No!
He's pitched it off the road in the final corner. However, he managed to collect it instead of going off in front of Gabor. Gabor will have had a heart attack when he saw the timing come down. But here comes Gabor through the final corner, weaving victorious across the line. Gabor, a dominating, commanding performance today. Punted off early by Straviko, just a little bit of contact on the first lap of the race, but Gabor recovers to take P1, a full lap clear of Straviko Saponyak, the Croatian sensation in P2. 1 lap behind Gabor. An amazing recovery by Straviko Saponyak. Lucidi, Ayub, Costa across the line. We will wait to see their positions. P3 should be Heikki Huhtinen for the friendly fire team, and we will see Jimi Virtanen come through in 4th. In just a moment. We'll get the camera on the line to see the final cars coming through. There's one car coming through turn 10. Another, sorry, not turn 10. That's turn 1. Well, it would be turn 1. It's a sweeping corner. I can't identify corners. That's the point.
Heikki Huhtinen has come through for 3rd place, and Jimi Virtanen has taken 4th just behind him. Nearly managed to get that position back. Going to see Sean Lee coming through shortly, I believe. Still possibly going for that fastest lap. He's crossed the line. Did he get it? No, I don't think he did. No. I hear he's...
There we go. The results are in. The classification is final. Gabor commanding performance in P1, a full lap clear of Straviko Saponyak. Didn't see that coming 50 laps ago, but there it is. The silver medal for Straviko Saponyak, 1 lap back in 2nd place. Heikki Huhtinen stays out of trouble for the most part to take podium in P3. Jimi Virtanen in 4th position. Roni Kronpish will finish 5th, the last of the cars on 1 lap behind the leader. Lucidi was running for 4th position and then had to make a late stop. comes in 6th position, 2 laps back of the lead. Sean Lee also 2 laps back of the lead in 7th position. Ayub was running second. Looked like it was a strong second-place finish until he disconnected about halfway through the race. We'll finish 4 laps down in 8th. Costa disconnected late, managed to rejoin. He finishes 11 laps down, but he does take 2 points. And Delbury, though he finishes 10th, or is classified 10th, he will not be credited with 2nd position. He is too far down the classification and did not cross the line to finish the race. Daniel Lukostic and Sentu Sera, 11th and 12th. Terrible day for the Fragmaster cars, apart from Straviko Saponyak's recovery. Moreira will finish 13th, and we have Kodrich in 14th, the first retirement of the race. All right, we have the cars coming in the background for the podium photo. That's Heikki Huttunen coming alongside Gabor. It'll be on our right, Gabor's left. And there we have it with the MRC safety car in the background. Gabor in P1. Once again, an amazing performance from Gabor, recovering from a first lap incident and then showing everyone how much better he is than all his competitors. The class of the field, a clinic today by Gabor to finish 1 lap clear of everyone else. 80 laps in just under 1.5 hours. Tom, your thoughts on this race?
I think the pace shown today from Gabor was fantastic. I feel very bad for Jimmy Verson having those issues and dropping back, so he wouldn't really have a chance to fight for the win. Ayub then having those disconnects was just, it's heartbreaking for him. It's happened twice in a row. Had those great opportunities just stolen from him as a result of technical issues. Straviko putting in a fantastic performance. Really a clinic in driving from the back and never giving up. It's just quite a fantastic comeback from him.
Yeah, 3 events remaining in this season. I hope we can see a performance from Straviko Saponyak that does not start with some kind of compromise to his race early on. That concludes the 3rd round at the Aston Touring Car Circuit. Well, we do have 3 more rounds. You can see the schedule on the screen. The next one, round 4, will be at Fern Bay Gold on January 30th in 3 weeks' time. We do have a couple interviews coming up. We will take just a moment to sort those out. Oh, we're actually ready right now. We have Sean Lee in the commentary box. Sean, we saw you doing a little bit of weaving, and we saw that you tried to snatch the driver of the day vote, though I don't think you fooled anybody. Speaking of, that link is in chat, so please do vote for your driver of the day before we conclude this broadcast. Sean, tell us about your race.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay,
we can indeed.
Yeah, so the race, well, I was outside, so when I saw the timing, I was having a heart attack. I ran back home, didn't make the qualifying, so I started from the pit lane. I ran up onto the first corner, had like 0 brakes because I didn't know my braking point. Ran over the curb, or let's call it the molehill, and absolutely wrecked my right side tire. So I basically got like positive toe or camber for the entire of the first lap. So after that, it was just, I guess, trying to go up the order with R3s. It was kind of working. Until I came up, I pitted for R4, so my idea was to go to the end of the race. Until I came upon Lucidi at the hairpin. This was when there was the timing mix-up, right? If you guys remember that.
We do indeed.
So what happened there was, I was passing in 4 positions, and he didn't see me on the inside, so we connected at the hairpin, and then the next corner after that, the position swapped because of the timing conflict, so I went back down to 9th. I'm sorry, Lucidi. I thought we were actually fighting for position, but after that it was just, it's the most boring race I've ever had.
Well, it looked like you were going to give us a bit of excitement there at the end. We got to call that flying lap, though it went wrong in the final corner. I assume you had flashbacks to a GT2C race last year where you were off in the final corners with the leaders coming through, but you did well to gather that up. Were you trying to get the fastest lap of the race to get some attention on stream? Because if that was your goal, you nailed it.
Yeah, kind of, because I did the 58.4 on R3, so again my split was about 3/10 up on sector 2, so it was pretty close. I had set the anti-robot at the back to be soft coming out of the final corner, so I could let go of the traction control. I let it go a bit too early. Had another heart attack, nearly spun in front of the ball. That was nearly horrific, but yeah, the one of the signboard save me. But yeah, I mean, it just basically capped off the race. Not a very good performance. Yeah, not too happy with the Cup, if I'm gonna be honest. But you know what, it's already done. So we're gonna go to Fern Bay, I think, the next one.
We are indeed. Well, it was fun to watch, and we thank you for putting on a bit of a show there at the end while we just had a one eye on Gabor smoking everybody else on track. So thanks for that. Thanks for joining. Though you came in late with a heart attack, you put on a good show as always, and we enjoyed watching that. And good luck in 3 weeks' time.
Good luck with your pronunciation of Straviko. That was pretty close from both of you guys.
Yeah, he's in the commentary. He's in the waiting room. So we'll let Tom introduce him after we talk to Raphael, who is coming in now. Thank you for joining us, Sean. Raphael, that probably wasn't ideal, and then you had a disconnection late in the race, but managed to rejoin and take those points for 9th position. Tell us about your day.
It wasn't a nice race. Firstly, I would like to apologize to everyone on that crash on turn 2, because I got near to Gemini very fast, and he was on my vision to my braking reference, so I could not brake on the right place, and I ended up dive bombing everyone there. So I would like to say sorry for everyone on that crash. It was the start was quite good. I managed to qualify in P4, and after turn 1 incident, I was in P2, and I stayed there for some time until I tap my traction control button and spun on turn 1, and there happened a little crash. That's it.
Yeah, it seemed like an unfortunate race, but we do appreciate watching competitors rejoin and persevere. You take 2 points for 9th place. It had to be frustrating running around the back, but I assume you're pleased with taking as many points as you possibly could.
Considering that this wasn't my best race in my life, getting 2 points is very nice.
Well, no, it wasn't an ideal day for you, but we do appreciate you joining the commentary box to have a chat with us. Will you be racing with us in 3 weeks at Fern Bay?
I will prepare myself, as I always prepare myself for all the races, and I will be there.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you, and thanks for joining us. Tom, our friend, I will let you introduce him, is in the commentary box waiting room. We have Tom, take it away.
Straviko Saponyak, well done today. Fantastic comeback drive. Yeah, celebrations going off because I pronounced your name correctly. Yeah, unfortunate incident at the start of the race with turn 2, but you did you put on a clinic in driving back and securing a fantastic 2nd place.
Hello. I guess our opinion of what defines clinic is different. I would again like to apologize to Gabor. I'm very happy that he won. I'm very happy that he won because now I don't have to listen for 3 weeks how he didn't win because of me. I don't know what happened. We had a double start, and I just burned my clutch up to 20%, and I was just looking at the clutch even at the start. I saw the lights, I started okay, but I was all the time looking at what percentage the clutch is, because my setup was I had a gearing set up in a way where I started in 2nd gear. I didn't use 1st gear for a start, I used 2nd. So I had to start with clutch and brake in a Formula car. So I was just looking how hot it is, and didn't even want to pass Gabor at turn 2. I was happy to be behind him, and I started braking. I checked the replay fast after the race. I started braking before him, and my tires just locked up. I guess it was because of the dirty air, and car just went straight. And you know, you have that like 1 second where you see what will happen, and you can't do anything. I tried to ease off, brake a bit, and then brake again, but it just locked up again immediately. And at that point, you're just going straight, and I just went straight into him. I lifted immediately on the first lap to let him go ahead. I knew I would get driver penalty. It's all fair. I deserve it. I'm happy that he won that. It didn't make a difference to his result in the end, I think.
Yeah, I think we are all familiar with that awful feeling that that the car is going where you don't want it to, and there's nothing you can do about it. After that incident, you had a difficult early running. You were in the pits 3 times in the opening laps of the race. What happened there?
Well, I knew that I will get drive-through. I mean, it was a slam dunk. So what I wanted to do is play it smarter. And when the safety car came out, I pitted and put on. I started with R3s, so I pitted and put on R4s, and then on the next lap I pitted again and put on R3s again. So that means I didn't have to put R4s again in the race. So with a bit of fuel saving, I would probably be able to make it to the end with only 1 pit stop after the safety car for the start. But then I think on lap 9 or something, I caught a bit of dirty air and went through the curb on turn 1. I just went over the top of it. I think I didn't spun or anything. I just went over the top of it, and the suspension on the front left just broke. So I had to pit again. So I was just looking on lap 9. I had 3 pit stops, and I knew I had a drive-through penalty coming. To be fair, I don't know what the hell the rest of the field was doing that I ended up in second place.
There was an unfortunate incident with Raphael into turn 1 where he collected a few people, caused a bit of damage. Turn 2, sorry. There's an unfortunate incident there which caused a bit of damage and lost a few people a lot of time. We noted through the fast-flowing sectors there was a lot of issues that were developed from there. I will say your drive back through was very impressive with that, and I know it's unfortunate and it's never nice to have a collision with a fellow competitor, but with the two of you, the 2 fastest on track, having the issue and dropping all the way to the back, it made some very exciting viewing for you coming back on through.
Yeah, well, I'll check it later. I did not listen to broadcast during the race. This car takes all the attention my mind can give, and I have no spare room in my mental capacity to do anything else. I don't know how it's for other people, but this track is fast and this car is really fast, and you just have to be inch perfect all the time.
Well, you've demoted yourself below Sean Lee in my reckoning for driver of the day, because he listens to our broadcasts, and we know he does because he weaves when we say interesting things about him. So I guess maybe talk to him for advice. Looking forward 3 weeks, we know you prepare well. You do your own setups. You're consistently quick. What do you do differently to get the early race bugbears out of the way and put on a good show from the very start at Fern Bay?
I don't know. I wanted to do something differently here. I went full tank R3s. I wanted to just drive 2 full stints and then go on to R4s, and I wanted to stay behind Gabor in the opening stint and then see what happens in the second stint on R4s. But I don't know. I don't know what to do on Fern Bay. I guess that proper answer would be just qualify on pole and run away. It's a short run to turn 1 on FE Gold, and yeah, the first sector, second sector is all fast sweeping turns, so the guy leading turn 1 there should be able to have a clean run on lap 1, and then after that it's all about pace. I don't think I'm lacking in that aspect. Gabber always manages to get the fastest lap and a lap in qualifying that is faster than mine, but overall, even on the last race on SF4, when I checked the laps, when you do like an average, I'm there or thereabout. So it's not a pace issue. It's I guess I have to, start qualify on pole, be first after turn 1, and then I have nobody to crash into if I'm first. So that should help me, I guess.
Sounds like a super simple plan to me.
Yeah, that sounds so easy when you put it that way to me. Well, we hope it goes better for you in 3 weeks' time at Fern Bay. We can hear your young race engineer in the background, so we'll let you get to that. And for your sake, I hope we see some Croatian domination at Fern Bay. So good luck to you. Do your best. And thanks for joining us in the commentary box.
Thank you, guys. Have fun.
Tom, there we have on the screen the schedule for the remaining rounds of this season. We are halfway through. Alexei Liberto will have been demoted to third place in the point standings behind Gabor and Straviko Saponyak today. 3 rounds to run. The next one is at Fern Bay Gold on January 30th, as we have talked about. And then we have another round at Aston Classic, and we will finish at West Hill at the end of February. Tom, your final thoughts on today's race?
I think today my prediction of the safety car came true. Bits we noted where were quite possibly going to be the issues came true. So unlike South City Long, we called the race quite well, I think, in pre-race predictions. There's a great show put on. Gabor just dominated. I don't think there's really another word for it. He got a fantastic show, fantastic performance, come all the way back through, even with the slight damage he had from the 2 incidents he had, which weren't his fault. So it's a fantastic show from him. Heartbreaking again for Ayub, and hope to see some more drama and excitement in 3 weeks' time.
I have nothing to add to that. I agree with everything you just said. I think that will round it out for us today. My name is Travis Mehlinger, joined by Tom Jones once again here on Sim Broadcast. We've had Peter Butcher in our ears, along with Chris McElroy doing Liaison, giving us all the calls about tire strategies and fuel pit stops, action on the circuit. We want to thank the New Dimension Racing team, and most especially the Master Race Car team, for putting on an excellent league for you to watch and for us to call. We've had a lot of fun here today, and we hope to see you again in 3 weeks' time for round 4 at the Fern Bay Gold Circuit. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Be safe, be well, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.